What is going on, everybody? I am starting the live stream a little bit earlier. Um, Obviously, I made the post game. I didn't know what time the game was going to end, so hopefully, some people start funneling in here. The Mariners lose 5-1 to the Astros. I'll get to all the comments, everything. Yeah, Jason, it looks like it, doesn't it? It has been just awful baseball, uninspiring. Um, Let me turn this light up a little bit, guys. Just wait for some people to get in here. Again, as I went live a little bit earlier, the Mariners dropped 5-1. Just an awful effort all around. They made Justin Verlander look like prime Justin Verlander, which I get, but actually I don't get it. I don't get any of it. This team is just a mess, and we'll get to the comments. So because I can't do it, they can be active on. Hopefully, a chance to let me move my mic out of the way so I can see this a little better. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, they got a lot of work to do. They have got a lot of work to do in the off season. That's for sure. I'll get to the off season stuff when it gets there. I've got a lot to say on it. Let's see. Oh, EDM, it's tough. Like they're still alive if they win the next two. They got to win the next two, and it's the worst thing about this. It reminds me of the quote in Shawshank Redemption when he says, Red, the hope is the best of things. It's a great whatever you guys know the quote I'm talking about. And hope is a great thing, and in life you should have hope. But right now, this team, the hope is like a negative right now for me because I wish they would just be gone. And I don't. I want them to get in. I do. I want this team to get in the playoffs. But this hope and this little bit of life that they are clinging to is almost frustrating because the Astros getting swept by the Royals gave them some life. All that stuff. And they don't take advantage of it. It's like they need to be put out of their misery. It's just been such a slow death for this team in September, and it has been rough. It has just been very rough to watch. And the sad thing is, they didn't have to be that great this month. They just need to play like 500 baseball, and they would probably be okay if they could have just played 500 ball. But I don't even know what they are right now. Bad. And the Astros coming off a series where the Kansas City Royals just spanked them in Houston. I know some of the games are close, but it's the Royals. And the Royals went in there and swept them. They came to Seattle, and the Mariners played lifeless baseball for 9 innings. I don't know what Julio was doing in that second inning on that line drive Abreu hit. Jose Abreu is probably one of the slowest people in baseball. You just need to cut that off, and it's a single. But nope, he bobbles it, lets it get past him for a triple. Cannot happen. Castillo wasn't sharp tonight either on top of that, but those errors cannot happen. So Abreu gets to third to lead off that second inning with nobody out. And I'll get to the comments, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just going to vent for a little bit. Abreu gets through with nobody out. You get 2 outs. You are 1 strike away from getting Dubon out and getting out of the inning. Nope, base hit. Then you're giving up base hits to Martin Maldonado on top of that. And then they get a little bit of glimmer of hope in the bottom of the 4th. Bases loaded, 1 out. Canzone gets a hit. Rojas gets a hit. JP works a walk. I'm not saying you needed all 4 runs in that 1 at bat. Even if Julio could have just gotten a sac fly, 4-1, Cal comes up, you never know, a double play. An awful at bat by Julio. Absolutely terrible. Cannot happen when the season is on the line. I'll get to some of the comments here. Kolb, I don't know. Man, it wasn't fun, though. That was definitely not fun. Agreed. Terrible performance. Yeah, definitely, Bradley. It is definitely that they're off, man. They are off. It's crazy that this team actually still has a shot, and I almost hate that they have a chance. They're so on Arcs Fears they would regress me, but exactly, like that's the thing. I didn't think they would that they would keep up that. Nobody expected them to keep up the August pace, but they just needed to be like 500-ish, and they just couldn't even do that. And the schedule was tough at points, but it's like, the Rangers and Dodgers. I didn't expect them to dominate those teams, but they could have gone 2-4 in those games. Even if that's the thing that makes me so frustrated. If they would have won 1 in Texas and 1 against the Dodgers, they'd be in great shape. Super frustrating. Maybe, definitely. and hoping and still, but I do agree it's hard to have. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not going to give up hope at all. Excuse me, let me reword that. I'm giving up hope. I have zero faith right now with the way this team is playing that they're going to win the next two. But it is definitely it's still a possibility. Like they can still do it. Those games are still there. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where do I think they're going to win the next two? No, but they certainly have an opportunity to do it and still have a shot at this. But at least now we know they have to win the next two games. There is no scenario I can envision that they could. I mean, if they get swept, it's completely done. If you lose one of the next two, you need tons of help. They have to win the next two. If not, it's you got to throw it out, in my opinion. Yeah, do it, please. Fruit, do that. Get MLB the Show up and let's do a replay on this. If we can keep August, that would be great. Just redo the rest of the months. Bad opinions too. Justin, I don't blame you, man. I agree with you. It was tough to watch. I wanted to come on and make a post-game video about after they got down 3-0. And it's sad. They got down 3-0 and I had no hope that they were coming back. No hope. And that sucks because you shouldn't. 3-0 should not be a nail in the coffin. And again, like always with this team, and I'm not saying the pitching was good tonight. It really wasn't. But, yesterday you get the offense hits and the pitching can't perform. On Saturday, the pitching's good and the offense can't perform. Then to Friday, the offense is good, the pitching can't perform. Today, the pitching was, if you take away Julio's blunder, Castillo maybe gives up 3. So, you could say the pitching was okay and the hitting was a mess. It just, this team cannot get on the same page. What are the positives take away amid this collapse? Not much. I'm sure people that, I'm sure there's, I'm trying to think of anything to take away. Nothing from the collapse that's positive. I still like the core of this team. I still think that Julio, Cal, Kirby, Castillo, Logan, some of the guys in the bullpen are all good pieces going forward. So, I guess that would be a positive. That's not anything from the collapse. That's just about the team in general here. Texas, yeah, also, and now Texas, Hannah, thank you for that update. Texas about to beat the Angels. I don't really care at this point. Texas, about the Texas score. The Mariners aren't going to win. There's no point to care about Texas. And I guess it's the one thing that gives me some hope. A week ago, 2 weeks ago, Texas was the team that was dead. Houston swept them. Minnesota had beaten them 2 out of 3. That they were done. Nobody gave Texas a shot, and they've bounced back. But there's, I don't know. There's just 6 games left, and it's just frustrating. 6 games left, yeah. I don't know. Trevor, good to see you, man. No problem, man. Exactly. I wish we'd come on here and talk about a win, but I needed you guys for this more than you guys probably needed me. I just needed to vent, and I don't know what to say in some of these post-game videos anymore. It's lifeless. Well, it was already 5-0 when Leon went in, so that wasn't a problem. That's when Leon should be pitching, when it's 5-0 in games like that. So that wasn't an issue. I won't put anything on Scott tonight. What I will put on Scott is that this team, and it might not be him, it might be, I don't know, but man, this team looks lifeless. And then they look like they get down and they just press. Maybe that's not on Scott. Maybe Scott's doing the right things and it's on the players. That's something I don't know. I'm not in the clubhouse. But as far as like the results side, I don't think Scott did anything wrong in terms of in-game management. But this team has been pretty lifeless. And that falls on the players. That falls on the management, that falls on ownership, that falls on everybody. Really looked like they did, Paul, at least after the not the first inning, but that second inning, just lifeless. I don't know if they're pressing too much or what's going on, but yeah, I don't disagree. The vibes are not strong right now. The only good vibes I can say is that if they win the next 2, then they've got a shot. There is still that small silver lining that if you can win the next 2 games, I'm not saying I don't have a ton of faith they're going to, but it is there. It is there for them. Well said. Yeah, it's about the worst timing possible for them to play like this. Terrell, good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. I don't think I've been more discussed with So have a nice off season on your couch. Man, I don't blame you. I do not blame you for the emotion there. I'll tell you, man, this has been, and for me, it's been a very fulfilling season. My channel has grown, and I have, for that, I am very, very blessed and grateful for this baseball season. But it's amazing what the change of expectation does. I'll go back to something I said in my post-game video in the Astros Mariners game 3 last year. And last year was amazing. To be back in the playoffs felt so cool. And I think we all loved it. But I said that it wasn't good enough to just get back here. They have got to take the next step forward now. They have got to go from getting in the playoffs was great. They broke the drought. But how are they going to take that next step forward? How are they going to do that? And listen, the season's not over. There's a chance they could still take that next step, but they haven't done it. They have not done it. They're fighting again to be the last wild card team, which I'll take. I will take that. Would rather be in the playoffs than not. It gives you a shot. But this team is just not taking that next step forward. The core is good enough for it to do that, but they've got to have a better offseason. And I was wrong. I thought the offseason, they did enough to put this team over the top with the core they had. Now, I will certainly say that I don't think anybody expected Colton Wong to OPS 187. I mean, I won't necessarily yell at them too much for that, but the moves they made were not enough. And I'll own that I was wrong on that. And the front office, ownership, and management needs to look at that, and they need to do more. They need to do more there to have this team ready. There needs to be more depth, because right now when the superstars are off, this team is just off. Now, in terms of the pitching, there's been some things they don't have control over. Like, there's nothing they could do about Robbie Ray getting hurt, Marco getting hurt, Flexen being awful. The pitching depth, I won't get on them too much for. I think that's just been kind of an unfortunate side effect of some things. But I definitely think offensively that there were some moves that they could have made in the offseason. They didn't. So we'll see what ends up happening. Appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. And thank you to all of you that have subscribed. If you're not subbed yet, hit that sub button. Hit the like button for me if you guys don't mind on this. That just gets this out to more people and lets YouTube know you're liking it. 37 people in here. Thank you all for being in here. I appreciate this. Give up too good a pitching for lowly rental bats. Teo's probably not coming back. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something they need to look at. Like, it is one of the reasons why, look at free agency a little bit. You don't have to necessarily trade away players if you do that. Now, I'm not saying I want some of these contracts. There's been some terrible contracts that have been out there in baseball, but it's tough. They're having to make these trades. I think that might fall on ownership a little bit more than the front office. And I like the trades they've made. I think they've made a lot of good trades. There's been bad ones like any front office. I'll still maintain I like the Paul Sewald trade. I think that's good value. But they're doing this and then they're getting right to the edge and not finishing. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been great to do the Sewald trade and then go and get another reliever, which would have helped. Maybe going and getting one more bat, that Mark Canha, someone like that. And maybe that doesn't put them over the top. I don't know. But they're coming up this short. I mean, we switched the results of 2-3 games that were close, and they're probably in. Seems the biggest lack of depth for this team is we have no bullpen. I guess what you could do, no, because Wu would only be on 3 days of rest. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad point, AJ. I think that's kind of what maybe a Trent Thornton could do for you. Some of that just is on some injuries that they don't have control over. But I agree, it would have been nice to add someone, another 6 starter. The problem was the trade market was insane for starting pitchers. But I think that's a good point. Yeah, definitely very sad. Sad effort. Sad to see the team come out, to get life. They were given life yesterday by the Astros. And truthfully, they played better in that Texas game they did tonight. And they come out and just lay an absolute stinker where it looks like the effort wasn't there. Scott let him go more than inning the other night, though. I personally, that's the biggest. Who are we talking about there, AJ? Who are Willings? I don't think I was crucifying him, but maybe talking to someone in the comments if you were. All good, no worries. Comment was made, but there's somehow tomorrow I'm pitching. Why? I don't think you're completely off base there, to be honest. It's go time. You know what I mean? You've got to win the next 2. And if Kirby can win tomorrow, I mean, if you can get, what you could do is you could have Logan start, and then on Thursday, you could have Miller start and then maybe Wu can piggyback him. I don't think they'll do that, but I don't think you're too far off there. You got to do anything you can, right? Yeah, the Rams lost their guys. Seahawks, go Hawks in second place. Oh yeah, big time AJ. The drop off from Ty, from Gino has just killed this team. And they didn't, and the sad thing is they don't need those guys to be amazing. If they just could have been average-ish, you know what I mean? Like they'd probably be okay. And yeah, and they've got to make some decisions what they're going to do there in the offseason. Well, you know what I mean? It's one of the few years where the pass series doesn't go. Yeah. I mean, like, I think it's why I still want this team to get in, Son Bob, is because, like, I do think a path is there. I don't think Texas and Baltimore, especially Baltimore without Bautista, are unbeatable teams. I really don't. I think the Mariners could beat Minnesota in a 3-game series, to be honest. But unfortunately, it just doesn't look like right now that they're going to get in. Yes, this is 100% a group therapy session. So happy to be counseling as much as I possibly can. We'll hang out for about probably another half hour. So if you guys want to, because then will be the show is 99. He was last year. Ty was clutch, and to me, it's not even so much about the clutch. It's just the bad. He just hasn't been good. Clutch or not, Ty overall has just been awful. Awful life. And you know what? Like, that's the thing. Listen, would I have been happy had they lost 6-5 today? No, of course not. Like, that still would have been super frustrating. But at least it would have shown some life. And they didn't even do that. Just bad at bats all around. Brady. I think I said Bradley last time. I apologize, Brady. My mic's in the way there, so I apologize for that. Yeah, I mean, swing and missing. I mean, just Gino's bat looks so slow. On some of his strikeouts, he's not even close to making contact. And I swear, I've never seen a team pop up as much as this team does. Just awful. Piece with it. We just don't look like we deserve it. Rocco, like, I'm at that point too. I've kind of made peace with it, which, you know what? They're going to win tomorrow. Because I've made peace with it, they will win. I'm kind of in the same boat as you are. Like, right now, they just don't deserve it. They're showing it, and they're going to come out and win tomorrow because they will not let it end. They will not let the death be quick. They will extend this. So I'd honestly be shocked if they don't win tomorrow now, because they will not let it die. Like, they're that stray cat in the alley that is just still alive somehow. So they'll probably find a way to win tomorrow. They're this short, just going to be this not series containing teamwork by having players controlling and qual. Yeah, something like that. I mean, I wouldn't mind bringing Santana back. I definitely think a lot of that falls on the ownership, for sure there. This team is a mess. Who is responsible for this collapse? Everybody, Rodney. Right now, and that's the thing, there's a little bit of blame to go around to everybody. The ownership, general man, Justin and Jerry, Scott, the players. It really is. This has been a full-on effort. I mean, there's maybe a couple guys having good Septembers. I'm not going to pull them all up right now. But it's everybody. The players have to play better. Like, before I go into huge rants about ownership, management, the players have not played well. I mean, Julio today is a perfect example. I love Julio, but that at-bat was unacceptable in the 4th inning. That defensive effort on the Abreu triple was unacceptable. So some really poor at-bats. It's on Scott. It's Scott's job to get this team ready to go and to win games. They're not doing that. One thing I've defended Scott, and where I have, is that I think he's done a good job in the clubhouse. I think the in-game stuff is a little overrated. Not that I don't think Scott's great at in-game management, but here's my thing. I think all managers are kind of bad at in-game management. They're all 65-year-old former catchers. They're not going to be super analytical, everything in-game. They all make stupid mistakes. But Scott's main job is to keep that clubhouse together and keep them battling. And if they're not going to make the playoffs and they're going to collapse, some of that falls on Scott. It also falls on Jerry and Justin, because they're the ones that put the team together. 52 people in here. Wow. Thank you guys so much. Hit that like button and hit the sub button if you're not yet. This is a Mariners therapy session. So if you need to vent, go for it. Totally understand. It falls on ownership for being cheap, falls on Justin, Jerry, falls on Scott, falls on the players. Paul, I'll be honest, I don't put a ton of stock into batting order. It's just, to me, talent wins. And if the players aren't playing well, I don't think it's a matter of shuffling up the order. If they're going to stink, it's not going to matter where they're hitting necessarily. I don't think the issue is they need to shake up there. They just got to play better. But definitely appreciate the comment. What was his contract for Santana? Yeah, I think what the thing with Santana was that I think they did want to bring him back. And I'm not trying to make excuses for the front office, but Pittsburgh snagged him right away, unexpectedly. And then they still had Winker on the roster at the time, so it made it kind of tough. Not excusing it, but I think that was the reason. Ryan, thanks for the comment. They don't want us pathetic, but this is what the team is. Tired to talk about the flaws of Scott in the front office right now. But yeah, no, Ryan, I think you're spot on. This is on the players right now. I will get into Scott in the front office. Actually, I'm doing it right now, but in the off season, once it's official, if they don't make it, I'm still holding out hope. But once it's official, yeah, there's a lot to talk about. But I agree. At the end of the day, the players not getting it done. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you, Brady, very much. I appreciate that. Me too. I still love the M's. Still going to be here. I mean, if they win the next two, they got a shot. They got a shot. Maybe for next free agent pool. Otani. I haven't looked. It's a pretty rough free agent class. I really haven't looked too much into it because I'm not gonna lie, I've been focused on this season because I still have hope. I'm an eternal optimist. And I still believe they can get in. As crazy as that sounds, what am I betting on it? No, but I still hold out hope. But Otani would be the obvious one. Yeah, exactly. No, it's true, Ryan. Scott probably does. It's pretty much all Jerry. Like that's the thing too, and that's kind of always been my thing. If you're mad at Scott, you got to kind of be mad at Jerry because it's their team. It's kind of both them there. So, we'll see what ends up happening. Feel Jerry isn't the right man for us. Too many bad decisions, especially. I think Jerry overall. The problem is a lot of this comes from ownership too, and it's not something I've talked about a lot on my channel, but I'm frustrated right now, so I'm kind of getting it all out there. A lot of it's ownership that at least in my opinion, that's not willing to spend. And I think Jerry overall has done a good job here. I definitely think there's some very fair criticisms that need to be made of Jerry, and they need to do a little bit more to get this team over the top. But I mean, overall, I think he's done a pretty good job. But I'm curious, I don't know how much is Jerry and how much is on the ownership too. That's kind of where a lot of it comes in. Tied to 253 slug in September. I know he's been there as long as I remember correctly. When you know why the problem is, and I agree with you 100%. I don't think there's anybody to take those at bats. I know Mike Ford could, but I mean, if at the end of the year we look back and go like, oh my gosh, the reason the Mariners didn't get in. Thank you, by the way, everybody that's in here again, truly appreciate it. Because the Mariners didn't get in because they didn't give Mike Ford at bats over Ty France. We weren't getting in anyways. You know what I mean? But Ty September has been a huge reason why they're losing. That is definitely for sure. Glock 40 says Dusty is 10 times worse than Scott. I don't know. See, that's kind of my thing. Everybody hates the managers. They're all the same. To an extent, every manager is the same. They're all baseball lifers that, grumpy old guys that manage pretty much the same. At the end of the day, you got to have the horses. I'm not excusing Scott for September, but I'm also not going to put it all on him. But I like Dusty Baker. I think Dusty Baker is a good manager. So, we'll see what ends up happening. Trying to keep up with all the comments here. Going to get beat with a hammer to ease. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Don't do that. Don't do that. But thank you, man. I appreciate it. On Otani, I want to keep the money for. I think you can do both. That's the thing. You should be able to do both. I think you can lock up the young guys and still get Otani. A lot of those guys are locked up. You should still be able to get it done and make a splash, in my opinion. Season over, man. It's uphill from here. So making Mariners go far in the playoffs. Will need. I mean, crazier things have happened. Crazier things have happened. Listen, it's all still in front of them. If they win the next two games, they are in really good shape to get in the playoffs. I mean, as crazy as it sounds. So it's not like they need a miracle to get in here. And that's what's been so frustrating is that this sliver of hope. It's like, I know I get a lot of people that comment on my videos, it's over, but it's not. I don't disagree that I don't expect them to win these games, but it's not over. And it's frustrating. It's just a slow knife that's digging in this month. Like, just end the misery, somebody, or start winning games. My gosh, start winning these games, guys. Like one or the other. I can't do this anymore. Thank you, Son Bob. Appreciate that. Yeah, if you guys can hit the like button, I would appreciate that. Yeah, definitely did. I don't think he'll have run-ins, Kayvon, because Scott and Jerry, like someone said, they are a lot of the lineups, or Jerry writes the lineups. It's Jerry has full control and over this. Scott's job is to keep the guys in the clubhouse happy, and Jerry does the rest. The reason Jerry had run-ins with Sosha is because Sosha's a bit of an egomaniac. Now, I'm not saying Jerry should control everything either necessarily, but Sosha wasn't going to stand for that. Sosha's not the type of guy that's going to let anybody tell him how to write a lineup. So that just was one of the reasons for that. Andrew, thanks for the comment. I've given up. They lost 10 in a row to winning team. His last 1-0 win against Tampa was exactly. Yeah, that's crazy. Wow, they have lost 10 in a row to winning teams. I didn't realize it was that bad. I forgot the last 3 to Tampa. I mean, Andrew, to be honest, like right now, I don't even know what them beating a winning team looks like. You ever go through that, guys, when your team or something is playing so bad and you're like, I don't even know, I can't even envision a win. Like, and I know they just swept Oakland earlier this week or whenever that was, but I mean, Oakland saw, of course, Oakland went to Houston and won a series. But is what it is. But yeah, I can't even envision a Mariners win right now. Like it looks like it would take every ounce of effort humanly possible for them to squeak out a 3-2 win somewhere. Let me scroll. I'm missing a lot of comments, guys. I am sorry. I'm sorry. Let me catch up on some of these comments here. If I missed some, I am sorry, guys, if I did miss some comments. 3 not behind the Rangers, and that's how many behind Blue? 3 behind the Blue Jays. AJ, I've given up on Texas and Toronto. The only team you can catch in my mind realistically is Houston. You play Houston the next 2 days. If you win those, you got a shot. I don't think they're catching Toronto unless there's just an epic collapse and the Mariners win out. But if that's the case, then it'll happen. You know what I mean? Herman, thanks for the comment. As we find you all in the tiebreak, get one that's fine. Texas sweep Angels means they probably won't try it last series. I mean, I guess that's possible that Texas could sweep and then they just kind of mail it in. But I just don't have faith in them. I don't have faith in the Mariners beating a mailed-in Texas team. That's the thing. Like they're right there. Now, baseball is a great sport. Whatever, can happen. Excuse me. How can I word this? Like they win the next 2 and it's kind of forgotten. Like, it can turn on a dime. It's a sport that can just turn on a dime. Kirby goes out and dominates tomorrow and they win. And then, hey, Wednesday, you've got a shot with everything on the line. So, it certainly can happen. But right now, it's just hard to even envision it. Think of the fans of the ballpark tonight. I feel like they gave some juice. They too quiet. I don't. I am never one to be like, oh man, the fans have got to get in there and make something happen and do it. Like, I don't blame fans for being a little gun shy. I thought it was kind of embarrassing that they were booing Altuve. I get why they boo Altuve, but the biggest cheer was the Altuve hit by pitch. And just FYI, guys, on comments, trying to get to all of them. If you guys want to, I do take super chats. That's an easy way to get the comment read for sure. If you drop a super chat, I will definitely be able to see it. So I am trying to get to all these as best as I can here. Truly appreciate it. At least Rams loss made me feel a little bit better. Hope. Yeah, exactly. Mojo, what is up, my friend? Good to see you. I am dead inside as well, my friend, but I hope you are hope you're doing good. Hope you are enjoying the night here and everything. So hope you're doing well, my friend. But yeah, it has been rough. It's tough doing the videos because it's just so frustrating. Oh, thank you so much for that. I don't know how much money that is, to be honest, but thank you so much for that donation, Fruit. Truly appreciate it, man. Truly appreciate it. God bless you as well. And I'm not positive how much money that is. And if anybody can convert that for me, I appreciate the numbers. But thank you so much, my friend. And I hope you have a great night. Thank you for your support, man. I truly, truly appreciate everybody in here. Everybody, all your kind comments. Like, you guys are helping me. I know it's a Mariners therapy session, but you guys are truly helping me more than like I'm probably helping you guys. Like, these comments make me feel better because I know I'm not alone. And that's why I made my channel in the first place. So thank you so much, Fruit. Bottom of my heart, truly appreciate that donation. Thank you. Only time we can win consistent on our pitching is good when pitching fails, when we play good teams. Keep up next year. You need more contact hitters. Let's case. Yeah, I definitely think they need some guys who can put the ball in play a little bit. So I don't disagree with that. It's unfortunate this team is just built, um, built with strikeouts and home runs. I don't agree. I don't disagree. I'm sorry. I agree. Some guys put the ball in play more. It's just they're back to April, May, where the pitching is on, the hitting's off. The hitting's on, the pitching's off. Oh, you're fine, man. No, thank you so much. I saw 800, so I just I was like, whoa, I don't want it. If that's like that much, I didn't want to just dismiss. Like, oh, thanks. No, but you are fine, man. Thank you so much for that donation. Truly, truly means a lot. Embarrassing they cheered from getting hits. Yeah, no, I agree, Rocco. I'm all for. Listen, I don't mind them booing Altuve or the Astros. I get it, but guys, you're down 5-0. Now, I'm not saying they had a lot to cheer about. They did not have a lot to cheer about tonight, but yeah, for that to be something to give a standing ovation, and I'm kind of over it. I'm just over the win baseball games. The Astros booing stuff was fine in 2020, 2021. I was all for it. It was fun. It was, I think, deserved, but it's done now. You go out and beat them. And I know it's not the players doing it, but just super, super frustrating. Yeah, sorry if I'm getting sidetracked, guys, on things, but just frustration all around. Like I said, that in that second inning, Julio misplays out a Abreu hit. If he plays out well, it's a single. Maybe Castillo gets out of that at 0. You know what I mean? And then, yeah, you give the home run to Alvarez and Tucker. Those are really good hitters. They're going to get you. That's 2. The Julio at bat in the 4th inning with the bases loaded. Even a sac fly there, a base hit. Make it 4-2, 4-1. At least you put a little pressure on Verlander at that point. You're making him sweat a little bit. And then you're a bloop and a blast away from doing something. So it's just super frustrating right now. And I mean, I don't know if it's even good news, but you got a chance the next 2 days. You have a chance still to do this. Paul, if M's lose tomorrow, would you say still 0 chance? It's probably not 0. But if they lose tomorrow, you're 2.5 back. You'd have to win Wednesday. You can't get swept. Swept, you're done. If you won 1 game in the series, you'd leave it 1.5 games back. I mean, you could win 3 out of 4 against Texas and Houston loses the series in Arizona. You would have a shot. So I don't want to be I mean, they deserve me to be a Debbie Downer, this team, but you have to win 1 in this series. Swept, you're done. 1 gives you a shot. Winning the series, you're in pretty good shape, and they still have a chance to win the series. Yeah, I agree, Herman. He did. He was getting hit pretty hard. He just went fastball, and Maldonado hit one hard off him. Dubon got one hard off of him. Obviously, Jordan and Tucker's was just absolutely crushed, big time. Yeah, I agree. Julio, just some really bad at-bats. Ever since the Dodgers series, Julio's at-bats have just been brutal and just at the worst time possible for this team. A chance of the bases loaded to do something. Like I said, even a sac fly makes it 4-1. It gives Cal a shot to hit one out. I mean, just something there. Glad drinking beer instead of watching them lose. They should remove the S off their hats and put an A. Enjoy the pie. Enjoy the beer. Don't blame you. Don't blame you at all. Have another one. Have one for me too, Adam, if you don't mind. But, just all around. Let's look at the pitching matchups for tomorrow. Gosh, there's still enough alive that we have to watch tomorrow still. And I should be more it's just super frustrating. It's just frustrating. I don't think they're done, but it's just, I don't know. Let's get back. I need the comments. You guys give me stuff to talk about. No matter what, I'm excited. Hey, me too, JP. I'll be back here. Listen, I think the future of this team is bright. I think there's a really good core here of players, and I don't think this is anything that needs to be blown up or anything like that for next season. I think you have a good young core here, and hopefully you can rebound and have a good offseason and get back in there. So I'm definitely be excited for April. Well, I'm curious how the offseason goes for sure. If we take next week's split, Texas need help from the D-backs. Not out of it, but Howard, depending on some help, see who all gets to be in the mirrors. Yeah, exactly. And I'm hoping the D-backs are still in contention because that would help. I can't believe I'm even talking about this, but they do have a shot if they win the next 2. They control their own destiny. like you said, they split with Texas and Arizona takes 2 out of 3, you're back in, and there is a chance that Texas has some stuff wrapped up. So maybe they do give Simeon Seeger a couple days off. But they got to win the next two. And gosh, right now, I just can't even imagine what that looks like. Yeah, Harmon, I absolutely do think the Astros can get in the World Series. I think any team in baseball, I think any team that gets in, I mean, they're going to have Valdez, Verlander, Javier, a good bullpen, a lineup that, is got postseason experience. I absolutely think the Astros could make a run. I think the Mariners could make a run if they get in. My faith in them getting in is very, very low, but I absolutely think any of these teams. I think the AL is pretty wide open, which is what makes this so frustrated. Yeah, I agree, Jacob. It really does. That was the other thing that was just really frustrating tonight was, and I'm not saying I would have been happy had they lost 6-5, but just know, just came out flat and looked terrible in the biggest game of the year. It's just super frustrating as a fan that it's not exactly fruit. I agree. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think we're all frustrated. I mean, and I try to be super optimistic, and I still am. Like I'm still holding out hope they win the next two games, and I'll cheer them on and I'll be here for them. But it's just tough right now. Usually usually for baseball, it's by myself, sometimes with the family. Football, usually we have a lot of people that get together for football, but baseball, because it's every night, usually more solo for the baseball games. That's definitely what cringy, bad. There's a lot of words, nouns we could use to describe the Mariners right now, right now, that's for sure. Yeah, hopefully he does. But, at this point, the Mariners have got to get there first, too. It'd be great to see Paul, shut down the Astros and help the Mariners get in. Um, but the Mariners got to take care of business. Christian Javier versus George Kirby tomorrow. Kirby pitched well against Oakland. Hopefully we get a solid Kirby outing and they can pull it out. And Wednesday is going to be really tough. It's Bryce Miller, Framber Valdez. But, Mariners did beat Valdez last time they faced him. Maybe they can do it again. I mean, there's nothing left but these two games here. You know what I mean? There's really nothing else to dive into. Just gotta find a way. Hey, Live 200. Hope you are having a good night, and thank you for joining. Thank you all for joining. 61 people in here blows me away. So thank you guys so much for being in here. Notice that the key for the Mariners to win is to get a lead early. I mean, I think so. Listen, this offense has had moments for the Mariners when it's been really good. It has had stretches where it looks like it can't even make outs. Make outs. Just I want to clarify and say make out. But then it goes through stuff like this. I mean, yesterday they score 8 runs. It's just when the Mariners are off, it's just they can't get the pitching and hitting together at the same time. It's super frustrating. That's a good question, Kayvon. When did the last time they scored first in a game? Actually, didn't they do it yesterday? No, they did take a lead, though, yesterday at one point. Yeah, the A's. It would have been the A's game, the final game of the A's series. But good vibes. Vibes clubhouse can't be good. I don't think they're giving up, and the mental frustration is showing. Yeah, I agree, Ryan. They definitely look like they're pressing. It looks like they're trying to win every game back in one game. Now, it may just look like that because they're playing terrible. It could just be they're sucking. It could just be as simple as that. But it definitely looks like they're pressing a little bit for sure. I think the vibes are probably still good because I think as a professional, they're probably saying, listen, we got 2 games here with everything on the line. We win them, we're in great shape. But they definitely look like they're pressing a bit for sure. Nick, welcome in, man. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good night. A lot to ask. First time I've seen you live, but realistically season over. Hope I'm wrong. Could be by 40-year-old Wash. That's the thing. Like, oh man, Verlander listen, I still have a ton of respect for Justin Verlander. But I mean, his FIP in September has been 5. Like he should not be shutting you out for 8 1/3. He should not be doing that to you at this stage in his career. Now I will say this early on, I thought the Mariners had some chances and they missed some hittable pitches. Now Verlander, to his credit, I thought settled in and pitched really well the final few innings, but that's why they needed to get to him early and they just couldn't do it. Yes. Yeah. They actually got down 1-0 though. So they didn't score first, but you are right. Gamer, they did have a lead yesterday for very brief. I think they had the lead for about that half inning and then it was gone, which has been this team's MO too. It's like they just can't hold that lead. So I mean, hopefully, if you guys are new to the stream here, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit the sub button for me, trying to get to 2,500 subs. So thank you guys all for joining me. Hope you're enjoying the therapeutic stream here. I don't think so. I don't think he was involved in any of that. I've kind of gotten over that. Like, the Mariners have frustrated me enough. I don't have the energy to be on Houston. They took care of business. You know what I mean? Like, they came in and kicked the Mariners' butts tonight. And Houston's been the one team the Mariners have kind of been able to handle this season a little bit. And they, couldn't do it today in a game with your best pitcher on the mound. It's frustrating. Anytime you lose that, and I know they've won 10 straight Castillo starts, but just frustrating. Thank you for you're welcome, man. No, um the second you provide to see find out if that was the last. Yeah, exactly. What exactly right. No problem. Happy to do these post-game recaps. I like doing them. Thank you guys all for your support. It's very therapeutic for me to do this. I used to watch the games and get so frustrated, like I just want to say something. So I was like, well, let me start this channel and I'll say what I have. I mean, I have some people in the comments that, say something. I'm like, listen, I'm not an expert. I'm going to be wrong. I was probably wrong on their off season. I thought it was enough to defend where I thought they did in the offseason. My thought was, listen, I know they didn't make a ton of additions, but you've got a full season of Kirby, Castillo, Cal, Julio. And I thought that would be enough with an improvement at second base and right field to put them over the top, but not looking like it so far, but we will see what happens. Yes, I agree. Can the A's come back? I wish the Astros were playing the A's because they struggle more versus the A's than they did us today. I'll talk my thoughts on Jamal Adams. I'm excited for Jamal Adams coming back. I think that it's really going to allow this defense to do a lot of different things for the Seahawks. I think it's going to allow you to maybe put Julian Love in the slot. It could allow you to have Adams more as an outside linebacker against the run. It could help the pass rush. So I'm excited to have Jamal Adams back. Wild Board, good to see you. I saw a great meme on that. It was the one with why does God give me his toughest battles? And the response was, how are you still alive? Good to see you though, Boar. But man, it is, like I said, one of the things for me is just that the hope. Like, it's just been such a slow, painful finish to September. Like, every game is just a struggle right now. And it's hard to do the recaps. It is, because I don't want to use the word depressing because that's not, baseball and sports should not bring you to that. But it's hard because I'm just coming on here and I get a lot of people like, oh, it's over. I'm like, but it's not. They're only a half game back. If they can just get on a little win streak or something, but they just can't do it. Like, they didn't have to sweep the Dodgers. They didn't have to sweep the Rangers. They didn't have to sweep the Reds. Just win one game. The Rays series, if they just could have won one more game in that series. And I know Houston could say the same thing. They could come back if they don't get in and say, well, if we would have beaten the Royals, we would be in. But yeah, it's frustrating. Let me get to some of the comments here. Even though I'm not a fan of both teams, like the Mariners pulled the series, but I think those look like they make it. So yeah, it comes down to tomorrow. I mean, it's this point, just one game at a time. Win tomorrow, win the next day, and they'll have a shot. Regardless where the Mariners end up. Oh man, thank you, Bor. I truly appreciate that. And that was really my hope with these, was just to give you guys a place to, enjoy the excitement, vent frustrations, a little bit of everything for this team that has happened. So then there's been some highs, there's been some great moments. And I will not apologize for being excited about this team in August when they got in first place. It felt good. And, a lot of people tell me, oh, they're not going to keep that up in September. Well, guys, they didn't have to. They just had to play like 500 ball this month and they would be in. But alas, it is what it is. Yeah, Verlander's owned the Mariners. I think he's something like 13-2 career and starts against the Mariners, something like that. Thoughts on if they can convince the polar bear? Well, he is not a free agent, so they wouldn't have to convince him. They would have to convince the Mets to make a trade. I'm not against anything if the price is right and it's going to help this team. That would definitely be a huge upgrade to the lineup. I'd prefer them to maybe do a little bit more in free agency, so I don't have to trading away a lot of players to do this. But I'd all for looking into it. How come M's don't do interviews with no idea, Paul. You'd have to, I don't know. I don't think that's true though, because Kirby did one after the Rays series and talked about how he didn't want to pitch a seventh inning. So someone's done some post game interviews. Most content don't reply to comments. Oh, thank you, man. I really tried to do that. I try to respond to at least there's some that are clearly just people venting, and I usually just leave those alone because sometimes I don't agree with the comment, but I'm also like, people just need to vent about this team. It's not personal at me. So I usually let those go. Usually the positive ones I try and give a heart to because I always respect just the optimism that people can have, and I try and have that too. So I always respect that. And then obviously, when it's a nice compliment towards me, I tend to give it a heart. It is getting tougher to respond to all the comments in the post game because I'm getting so much more, and I'm usually just doing it from my phone. So it's like, I don't want to type an essay out. My thumbs are hurting. So I'll usually just harder be like, yep, I agree, and go from there. But I appreciate that, Fruit Punch. Thank you very much. I'm afraid to say it, but Julio Son, WC, just, and Mega, I don't know. I hate getting into like, is this guy clutch or is this guy not? I'm not a huge believer in that something inherently makes a player clutch. I mean, like and maybe there is, but I mean, we've seen Julio have some big hits. It's just frustrating that like the at bat was terrible. I know where you're coming from. I definitely understand it. I just think it's just not a good at bat in that situation there. I think they have some guys that sort of act as captains. I think Gino, JP, guys like that. I don't think it's necessarily like a clubhouse issue. I think it's just, and maybe it is, but I think they're just kind of getting beat right now. I think the vibes are probably okay. I mean, they're not great. They're losing, but, I don't know. Maybe it is something that they need. And I think they have some decent veteran leadership. You know what they need? They need the veterans playing better. Like, I think they have good leadership with Gino, JP, Teo, some other guys in that clubhouse. The problem is Ty's been terrible. Gino's been terrible. Julio and Teo have cooled off in September. The pitching's been pretty mediocre in September. So I don't know how much of it is a lack of veteran leadership and how much of it is a lack of just they're not getting the job done. I do think maybe they're missing a guy like Santana in the clubhouse. I'll never dismiss, anything that can make the team better. I won't. I think there's a lot of things that go into it. There's a lot of things that we don't see. But I don't know how much of it is that and just guys got to play better, and maybe that is they're not playing well because of the leadership. I don't know. Don't worry, Seahawks will beat the Giants. And even that, yeah, maybe. I think they can, but I've seen crazy stuff. I'll never say for certain that a team is going to beat another one. I respect. I think Brian Dable is a good coach. I think the Giants will come out with extra rest and play better, and I think the Giants are actually favored in that game, oddly enough. But I think Seattle can beat them. We should win tomorrow since Kirby. Yeah, Kirby's done well against the Astros. So I mean, hopefully he can get it done and take it one game at a time and win game 3 and, win the series. Just hope at this point. It's all we've got to go on. I hate to say, but I don't think this team deserves the playoffs. Anything deserves staying home. I mean, they certainly have not played like a team that deserves to be in the playoffs. But if they do get in, then, I don't think Houston deserves to get in either. You know what I mean? Like if the Mariners do finish above the Astros, then I don't think it's fair to say the Astros deserve to get in. I'm a believer if they get in, they deserve it. Like, I'm not saying I'd be overly confident in them, but if they're in, they're in. Wonder if that Kirby cunt sent them. And, I mean, it certainly couldn't have helped, right? I doubt making that comment helped. It's certainly, that's not a good morale boosting thing. And it might have done nothing, but they've been playing pretty terrible since then. Rooftops in the house, you guys have not yet. Head over to Rooftop Sports. Give him a subscribe if you can and a like on some of his videos. We've done a lot of live streams together. So you can support his channel. Go over there and sub him up. Not even angry, just sad. I'm 20. I've seen the M's make the playoffs one time. Hey, I'm 36 and I've seen them make it one time, Will. So you're not alone. Jared is enough to reset the culture. If the team can't be the same old Mariners anymore. I think they've done a better job moving on from some of the previous mistakes of the organization's past, and the past failures of Bavasi, Zorencic, Arnon, DePoto, and Scott. That's a different organization, you know what I mean, at that point. But they certainly need a little bit more, whatever it is, whether it's just for talent wise, they just need a little bit something um, to go. Do you see the post game presser? No questions were asked by the media. Scott just left. I didn't see that. Well, that's surprising, to be honest. No one asked him a question. I would ask, why was the team so awful today? That's weird. I'm surprised no questions were asked. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 95, 97. Oh, yeah. Oh, for playoffs. Yeah, I've seen all those too, but certainly just meant that only seeing one is not shocking for this team. Links, I am not in Seattle, so maybe someone else can help you in the comments. I've only been to T-Mobile once in my life, to be honest with you, so I could not answer that for you. But Rooftop was there tonight, so he may have some answers for you. Yeah, Hunter, I definitely agree. I think a lot of the issues come back to ownership with this team. They're willing to do just enough. Now, listen, I am also an Arizona Coyotes fan. So if you want to talk really bad ownership, I can do one worse for y'all than the Mariners ownership. But I definitely agree that a lot of things seem to come back to the ownership for sure. 23 years side, seen it twice, and the second was last. Yeah, I mean, it's just, and that's why I still want this team to get in. I know we wanted the division. I know we wanted it, but by gosh, I sat through 21 years of no playoffs. I don't care if they back in and get 86 wins and get it. I don't care if they win the next two against the Astros, lose out, and the Astros lose out. If they get in, they get in. I will take it. I want the postseason. Yeah, I mean, they deserve it. They outplayed the Mariners today. Rooftop, that's for sure. That's for sure. Interviews are pointless. What Scott's? Yeah, Rocco, I kind of agree with that. I don't care. I have never watched one post game press conference for baseball. Sometimes I do for football, because I think you can get a little insight into injuries and stuff like that. So I watch Pete Carroll's press conferences, but for baseball, I mean, there's a game the next day. Yeah, that's a good point. What was Scott supposed to say today? They got their butts whooped. Not much else to it. Let's see. Trying to keep up with the comments, guys. I apologize. Yeah, Rooftop has a food video. So who's asking for the food? Go check it out and give him a sub while you're at it. Seattle Sports Zone. I am in the Mountain West region, down in the desert. For a team that drew the most revenue in the last 20 years, what do we do besides look? Yeah, exactly. And it's just a bad look. And listen, I am not against this team and ownership making money. I am not one of these people that thinks like they're just evil because they made a buck. The goal of owning a sports team is to make a dollar. They should absolutely be trying to make money. But the fact that they're making these profits, which fine, and then we're having to sit here and watch this team fail to make the playoffs it's just not a good look. It's just very, very frustrating to deal with. I live in Arizona. I've never seen Coyotes fans. They're you know what's huge out here, Hunter, for hockey is the Golden Knights. Go to a Golden Knights Yotes game, and it is 80% Golden Knights fans. You feel like you're at a road game. And they've actually been really cool fans, so I've enjoyed interacting with them when I go. And hockey is probably my more casual sport that I enjoy, so I don't get too worked up about it. But yeah, I might be the one or two Coyotes fans that's out here right now. Player staff just being PR speak for the most time. They can't really. Yeah, exactly. There's just, and that's the thing where, and that's what I said. Like, if someone's gonna ask me, like, who do I put blame on for this? It is everybody from top to bottom, from ownership on down. It's the players, it's Scott, it's Jerry and Justin, it's the ownership. If they don't get in, they all deserve a little piece of that pie. They all deserve a little bit of it. I forgot, Will, that Alvarez actually homered tonight, to be honest. It was such a beat down that I honestly, I'd already given up by the time Alvarez homered. So it was like, oh, yeah, that's right. It wasn't as backbreaking as some of the other ones. Do you meet any Mariners players in real life? No, never met them. That's not really my well, I shouldn't say that. I've gotten some autographs at games with my kids and stuff. But I'm not really like into like the player interviews. I mean, I hope they're all good human beings and everything like that. And sometimes those are funny, those little like, oh, what's your favorite ice cream and stuff like that. But for the most part, I pretty much avoid that stuff and just focus on the game, and let their personal lives be their personal lives. This game I was at the last game against the then California Angels, able to step on the Kingdom turf. Oh, it's really cool. That is really cool that you got to go down there, man. That's awesome. I've been a lot more games in the Kingdom than I have at T-Mobile. And what is it? Lumen? Is it Lumen now? You know what, Bor? I've actually only been to Peoria twice. Living out here, it's so funny because I'm like, oh man, you got spring training. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I do. I'm not gonna lie, and this is gonna sound like such a bad fan thing to say. Spring training games are rough to sit through, in my opinion. It's hot. By the third, fourth inning, it's a lot of guys you haven't heard of coming in. And some of these spring training games can be like 13 to 12, 14 to 10, and they just go on and on and on. I know it sounds like such a bad fan. Um, and I just truly don't really care about spring results all that much either. It's just like if Julio goes, like, remember that one spring training where Ichiro had like one hit and everybody was freaking out. They're like, oh my God, it's like, he's Ichiro. He's going to be fine. Sauer, good to see you, man. You are still in the lead for the contest. I am going to live stream, try to do 2 games for the Rangers series. I am for sure. I think me and Rooftop are going to do Thursday, and I'm definitely going to do the Sunday finale. No matter what happens, I will do the last game of the year live stream. But yeah, he did. Julio kind of blew it twice because he had the Abreu, which should have been a single, which he bobbled, and then the double play for sure. Anion's podcast, if you already subscribed to. Locked On Mariners is really good with Ty and Colby. Mojo, Mariners Mojo was in here. He's really good. Rooftop, my buddy that we do live streams with. Go check out Rooftop. Mojo, Locked On. I don't know of a lot of other ones that are out there, but those are the ones that I listen to the most. It was a fun thing to get a glimpse of. Yeah, exactly. And it just, I always try every year. I'm like, oh, I'm going to take the family. We're going to do a spring training weekend. We just end up never doing it. But yeah, it would definitely be fun to get a glimpse of them. But even then, sometimes it's like, I don't know. It's kind of tiring, spring training. It sounds like such a bad fan thing to say, but it is what it is. Sour. It's going to be, so it'll be something like $50 or less. Whatever you want that's $50 or less that's legal. So if you want like a Mariners hat or something, just let me know. If you end up winning the contest, I'll send you my email or something and just email me and, we can kind of figure something out that you want, as long as it's $50 or less. Peoria is it? I honestly don't remember. I haven't been to a lot of them. I know there's some really good state of the art ones now, but yeah. Been to FanFest and Seattle. Julio's young, he's better in the clutch as his career gets along. Yeah, I think Julio will. I'll be honest, of all the things, I'm really not worried about Julio long term. I think he's going to be just fine. I think he's always going to be a little bit of a streaky player. Just the way he is, the way the way he plays the game. I'm going to get out of here in just a couple minutes, guys. I think you'll always have a little bit of hot and cold with him. But, and some of the plate discipline could improve, but I think he'll draw more walks as he gets more respect. The same way guys like Vlad and Miguel Cabrera used to work walks. I know it's not what you're asking, Nick, but I'm just going on a rant there. And I have not been to FanFest. I have not been there. Marine Layer Pod, those guys get to interview the team and they ask the dumbest questions. Hey, I mean, to each their own. However, that's just not really my thing personally. With player interviews and stuff like that. It's just not what I'm into. But for a lot of people, that's their thing. So, if that's what it is, then, more power to you. But that would be another Mariners podcast. At least we won the season series. Yes. Hang the ban or something. If the Mariners get one thing to go right, there's another thing that goes wrong. Like they finally beat Houston this year, not tonight, but for the most part, but they can't figure out Texas. It never fails. M's Twitter hunter is always in shambles. And I don't blame, like right now, I'm not going to blame anybody that's up in arms with this team. So I'll give them a bit of a pass tonight, but M's Twitter is in shambles. They were in shambles when they were winning and still complaining. Gotta love Cole. But yeah, yeah, listen, and some of them justified. I like with anybody, I don't agree with everybody's points that I watch, but I think they do a good job there. Hope you don't mind all the No, I don't mind Nick. Anybody comment? If I can't get to all of them, sometimes I miss some because they're coming in. But no worries, man. You were fine. Texas Leapfrogs. It's just been so wild. And it's funny, Boar, that 2 weeks ago Texas was the team that was dead. I had written them all. Not I didn't write anybody off, but I was kind of like, yeah, Texas ain't getting in. And now, I mean, they're a virtual lock to win this division at this point. And Texas spent money. And maybe, and I don't know, I didn't think they would be this good this quick, but the results are the results. And they got aggressive and they've got a good young core. And I'm a little jealous. I wish the Mariners had been, and this is someone that's defended the approach, but I'm looking at them now and I wish the Mariners had been a little more aggressive. And maybe I think they could be right there. I think this core is good enough for the Mariners. My dad thinks the season thinks that's the season because the Astros are getting ready for the playoffs. I don't think so. Do you? I mean, I think maybe you had a typo in there. Listen, I'm not going to get on anybody that thinks it's done. I am not. I totally get it. If your mindset right now is the Mariners are toast, I'm not going to argue with you. But they can still win the series. They can still do it. They just need to win the next two, and they're actually in really good shape. As crazy as that sounds. Now, and I know I've said this 30 times, but people are coming in and out. Do I think they're going to win the next two? No, I can't think that right now the way they're playing. But if they do, they're actually in really good shape to make the playoffs. So, it is certainly still there. They do sour with baseball, I thought this team was dead in the middle of the summer, and then they found a way to bounce back and get some wins, and that's why I haven't given up hope. Baseball is a weird game. It is a weird sport, and I don't think it's the craziest thing ever if the Mariners win the next two games. I don't think it's some massive upset for the sport. You know what I mean? Like they certainly look dead. I don't disagree with that comment at all. But it is possible. George Kirby can beat Christian Javier, and you just find a way. I don't have a lot of faith in Bryce Miller beating Framber Valdez, but you never know. You're good, and like I said, I don't blame. Listen, I don't right now. If my gut tells me they are not going to the playoffs, and I'm with you. So I'm not. You don't have to be sorry about that. Or anything like that. So I get anybody that is like, nope. And you're probably healthier giving up, to be honest. I'm just saying that it is still there for them. It is still there for them. They can find a way to get this done. Dodgers fan, welcome in. Sam, thanks for the comment. Dodgers fan here. I became a fan of the show since the series against us. Only a snapshot, but I thought watching him in Seattle, they swing too much. They don't work the counts. Sam, and I really appreciate that comment. Best of luck to your Dodgers the rest of the way. This team is weird. It's either they're taking too many pitches and you're like, what are you doing? Or they're just oddly over aggressive. The approach has been really bizarre. And I just feel like they're pressing like crazy. At least nobody going to give up 70 points. Oh my gosh. I can't believe an NFL team scored 70 points. And it was the craziest thing about the Dolphins scoring that 70. They didn't have any defensive touchdowns or special teams touchdowns. It was all on offense, which is just crazy. Y2K, hope you're doing well, man. I believe in Kirby too. Go get it tomorrow. Go out there. My gosh, this team won't let me quit them. But go out there, get a win, and let's see what happens. Just my gosh, find a way. Find a way to win tomorrow, please. Taking the wrong pitches, middle. Yeah, Trevor, well said. I think Trevor just summed it up perfectly. They're taking the wrong pitches. They're watching middle cookies go by, and then they're swinging their batter's box. I couldn't have said it any better, Trevor. You were spot on. Spot on. Bochy, that in terms of text, yeah, Bochy is definitely a great manager. He has got a lot of World Series rings, a lot of experience. But I will say to that point, and I don't think you're wrong, but 2 weeks ago it was Bochy's team that was toast. So, it's a weird sport, but unfortunately right now the Mariners are the team that's on the outside looking in. Got a free ticket to Wednesday game, so I'm hoping, find a way tomorrow, and then Wednesday's kind of for the season, right? If they can do it, if they can win these next two, I'm actually going to be pretty optimistic that they get in. So hopefully find a way idea. Last couple comments here, then guys, I am going to be getting out of here. I got to get to bed. Crazy Deb, I'd love for you to start fantasy baseball. Yes, that's actually the plan next year. I'm going to do some fantasy stuff for channel members. So if you guys are not members yet, think about joining. I do members only live streams. We've done 2 giveaways so far. We gave away a nice new scorebook. And Sunbob, if you're in here, I don't think you emailed me your email yet. I got to send you the baseball cards that you won, man, from the last stream. So think about becoming a channel member. If you're ever in these live streams, super chats are available. Fruit, thank you for your super chat tonight. That way I can easily see the comments. I think I got to almost all of them. Closing statements for me tonight. Tonight sucked. This team looks absolutely lifeless. This team looks like a team that has no business being in the playoffs. This team looks like a team that does not want to be in the playoffs. And despite all that, if they can find a way to win the next 2 games, they have a really good shot. They have a really good shot. And part of me hates that. Part of me absolutely hates that. Because like I said in the beginning, it is like a slow knife that just digs in and it won't stop. And I want it to end. But they're still alive. They will not die. Now, most of that's from other teams losing, but they've got a chance if they can win 2 games in a row. That not the craziest thing ever to win 2 in a row. Teams have done it. I promise there are teams in this league that have won 2 games in a row. If they can do it, you've got a shot. You have a shot. I'm not super optimistic about Wednesday. I actually feel like they can win tomorrow. Not optimistic about Wednesday, but we will see what happens. It will be so nice we have a system where Seattle fans can annoy the shit of Astros players to get distracted when they're batting. I don't know if it's going to make a difference, but when tomorrow change. Yeah, Sam, well said. Sometimes it takes the Dodgers fans coming in here. I will say sometimes fans of other teams can give better perspectives because they're not emotionally invested. And then we got this one. This team is a disgrace. I don't think you're wrong, Austin. I don't think you're wrong on that. I don't blame you. Let's win the next 2 games. We can do. Why am I looking like that? I agree, Paul. Win the next 2 and let's see what happens. It's still out in front of them. And you can say I'm crazy. And like I said, if you want to give up, fine. I don't blame you in the slightest for giving up. But they still have a shot. Win the next 2. If anybody has any last-minute comments, get them in. And then I'm going to head out of here, guys. Thank you all for joining. We had up to 64 people in here at one point. Truly blessed by every single person that entered here. Thank you guys very much. You guys, like I said, have all made this season, no matter what, very enjoyable. I'm sad it's ending. I mean, hopefully it goes a little bit longer, but I'm sad it looks like it's coming to an end. I'm definitely going to be doing a live stream on Sunday for the season finale, especially since there's no Seahawks game on Sunday. So that'll be an emotional finish to the year, regardless of whether they're out of it or not. We'll be there for that game. So, Boar, have a good night, man. No problem, Austin. You are fine. I am angry too. Trust me, man. You have every right to come in here and be frustrated. It was just funny because I was talking optimistic, and then I was like, "Yep, don't blame me at all." Oh, appreciate that. I need it trimmed up a little bit, but I thank you. This is about a year now. This is about a year's worth of work. Thank you, Trevor. Truly appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. Bob, my heart, appreciate that. Thank you, man. You have a great night too, Kevon. Appreciate your support. Join the channel, man. You have a good night as well. You guys all have a good night. Keep the faith. We still have a shot. Win tomorrow. Can we have some? Everybody in here deserves a win tomorrow. All of you. We all deserve it. Win the game tomorrow. Let's go. Let's get back in this thing. Have a great night, everybody. I will see you tomorrow for a probably normal post-game recap. Take care, everybody, and be well. Thank you, guys. Good night, everybody. Thank you, Austin, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate the love. Love all you guys, and have a great night. Peace.